Few matchups transcend into the lore of basketball like those between Larry Bird and Michael Jordan. Whereas Jordan is often celebrated as the greatest player of all time, at one point, Larry Bird of the Boston Celtics made very clear who the boss was on the court. Let's take a closer look at one of their most memorable encounters. How Bird showed his dominance over the then-rising star that was Michael Jordan. So here was the scenario. 1986 NBA playoffs, the Larry Bird veterans, his Boston Celtics team, against a Chicago Bulls team driven by explosive young Michael Jordan. This was much more than just a game. It was a clash of generations and a classic battle of experience versus youthful exuberance. Under Bird's guidance, they became a well-oiled machine, very disciplined and smart in their game. Indeed, in the heyday of Larry Bird, he was the pivotal point for that team. A player whose basketball IQ, clutch shooting, and leadership of the game earned him a place as one of the most revered characters on the court. In contrast, Michael Jordan had already given so much hope to the fans about his potential in the NBA, with his high-flying antics that suggested an infusion of athleticism, skill, and competitiveness, spelling a bright future. Larry Bird showed on this very day that a player could really be in complete dominance of a basketball game without having to be the leading scorer. Bird scored 36 points, pulled down 12 rebounds, and handed out 8 assists to complete the all-around performance that epitomized basketball smarts and versatility. He was in complete control of the game while making the important plays and motivating teammates all game long. His defensive skills, court vision, and strategic mind made quite a statement in their own right to reinforce his status as one of the league's most respected players. Bird's famous trash-talking would further play such a psychological game with Jordan, reminding the young star how much more he had yet to learn. Bird's comments were not simply for boasting purposes. In essence, they were designed to get into Jordan's head, test his mental toughness, and see whether he could actually withstand all this. This was part of Bird's psychological warfare, as much a part of his game as his competitiveness and ability to use every tool available that could give him an edge. In Game 2 of this first-round series, Michael Jordan would turn in a performance for the ages. He exploded for an NBA playoff record 63 points, which really indicated that he was not going to be stopped and that the fire burned hotter than ever in his belly. He turned in almost a hero-like performance, and Jordan was literally almost unstoppable as he attacked the basket with great force, hit jumpers easy as can be, and showed off his unmatched athleticism. This game was evidence of Jordan's potential for taking over a game and scoring at will, a look into the greatness to define his career. Despite this phenomenal individual effort by Jordan, the Boston Celtics, led by Larry Bird, captured the game in double overtime, 135-131. The Celtics win epitomized team basketball at its finest, showing cohesion, strategy, and the feel for how to see it through to the end under pressure. Jordan's 63 were an amazing feat, but not enough against the collective strength and experience of Bird and company. This was a lot more than just a battle of two great players. It was an NBA passage of the baton type of moment. Larry Bird's dominance and leadership represented the benchmark of greatness to which Jordan aspired. Both players had huge respect and admiration for each other, and this game served as one important lesson in Jordan's career. To Bird, it was just another chapter in his varied career, one more staunchly etched among the great players of that time. To Jordan, it was a stepping stone, showing that greatness doesn't come from showing up or even strutting around, but through learning and growing. Right after this classic game, Larry Bird and the Celtics would go on to win the NBA championship in 1986, cementing the legend of Bird as one of the all-time greats in this game. For Michael Jordan, this was an experience that was to spawn his success-driven attitude. He went back to the drawing board and worked tirelessly to improve his game, both physically and mentally. Much has been said about Jordan's subsequent career, with 6 NBA championships, 5 MVP awards, and international icon status, but lessons learned from those early playoff battles against Bird and the Celtics haven't been forgotten. Players and observers who watched that game often remark about how it symbolized everything about the NBA. Magic Johnson, Bird's arch nemesis and friend, talked about the fact that the Celtics had great teamwork and leadership, stating that Larry Bird demonstrated a further capability to raise the level of play by players around him. Analysts point to this game as a defining moment for Jordan. This only proved that though he was talented and had the potential, he needed to develop mental strength and strategic understanding like players such as Bird. It only showed that greatness in basketball lay as much in the mind as in physical ability. The media did not lag behind in their fight to give this game great coverage. The headlines sported Jordan's incredible scoring feat alongside Bird's clutch performance. It was individual brilliance against team excellence, both on show and all glory for the fans. The contrast between Jordan's explosive athleticism and Bird's more cerebral approach to the game made for compelling viewing and discussion. Public reaction was just as divided. As most were attesting to Jordan's outburst of scoring, others were equally as quick to point out that Bird's total influence on the game made the difference. This only took the debate to another level in the budding rivalry between these two players and their teams. This game became iconic, not only in the history of basketball but also in the psyche of future generations of players. Both Bird and Jordan became role models for the young athlete who now studies games for strengths and weaknesses. Lessons Bird brought to the game, fundamentals, teamwork, mental toughness, remain the guiding principles many aspiring players have learned from. Jordan's work ethic, competitive drive, and scoring ability redefined what could be accomplished individually. Coaches and trainers used film from this game as teaching material, where many valuable lessons were drawn, especially concerning the importance of a well-rounded game, the empowerment of leadership, and the need for grit in the face of adversity. It has become a touchstone to illustrate how different playing styles could coexist and flourish in the NBA. One of the most overlooked aspects of this historic game was the psychological warfare that ensued. Bird was known to talk trash, a great way to work on opponents' minds. That game, however, all of his verbal jabs were thrown Jordan's way, challenging him and trying to throw him off his game. Comments from Bird, full of confidence and swagger, showed off the mental part of the game that proved physical skill was just part of it. Although young, Jordan was not the kind of man who would back down from any challenge, whereas the on-court exchange between Bird and Jordan was a battle of skills. At a larger level, it was a battle of wills. This created a psychological element within their rivalry, raising the bar on mental toughness and the capacity for focus under pressure. This showed Bird's experience, which Jordan would later integrate as part of his game with maturity. The day Larry Bird told Michael Jordan who his boss is one of the most memorable games ever witnessed within the NBA circuit, etched in the minds of basketball fans everywhere. But it was really a game that saw the best out of two of the greatest who have ever played, really nailing deep home the point on experience and leadership versus head games. For Larry Bird, it was a reaffirmation of dominance and basketball smarts. For Michael Jordan, this would turn into the defining learning experience that would lead him to unprecedented heights in his career. What are your thoughts on this legendary battle between Larry Bird and Michael Jordan? Did it set the stage for Jordan's future greatness? Or did it just point out the legacy that would live on with Bird? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to hit that subscribe button for more in-depth looks at basketball history and some of the greatest moments in sports.